Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Alumni Bearcat Chats. I'm Jacob Wilkins, and a pleasure to be joined by Owen Pell, who is the president of the Auschwitz Institute for the Prevention of Genocide and Mass Atrocities. He is also the chair of the Binghamton University Foundation Board. Owen, it's a pleasure to have you on.
It's a pleasure to be here with you, Jacob.
Tell me, let's start with the foundation. And I think for the general public, so to say, they know about the foundation, but they're not sure exactly the day-to-day tasks and responsibilities. Fill us in.
Right. So the foundation doesn't run the university. The foundation is only the fundraising arm of the university. So we are a charitable organization whose principal mission is to raise money for Binghamton University and to support the mission of the school in all the different ways we can, in terms of raising money, getting internships sponsored, helping network with alums. But basically, we're the fundraising arm of the university.
And when we spoke a few weeks ago, what really struck me is some boards can seem, it's the old ivory tower saying, what do they do? But with the Binghamton University Foundation, it really seems like the decisions being made are having day-to-day impact in a positive way. Tell me about that.
So that's right. So in addition to managing the endowment, one of the things we really do try to do is work with the president of the university. So we work very closely with President Stenger to find specific opportunities on campus that members of the board can get involved with, can use as their point of engagement. So on the one hand, many people on the board just want to fund scholarships, which are great, and we need lots of scholarships, or they want to fund a discretionary fund for the deans so that the deans can give out money to professors to start funding research projects. But other members of the board have picked specific things at the university with which to engage. And so, for example, I had previously sponsored in philosophy, politics, and law, I had endowed an honors thesis program. That was right at the beginning when I was getting on the board. But then while I've been on the board, I got very involved with trying to see if we could make Binghamton into one of the leading universities in the United States with regard to genocide and mass atrocity prevention. So rather than just studying the history of these terrible events, could we actually get professors involved in studying how they are prevented in the future? And working with Don Neiman and working with some faculty members, we were able to create the idea for an institute for genocide and mass atrocity prevention. And I then went out and found another donor for that, and that donor and I funded this institute, which is now up and running, and which is one of the only institutes, in fact, is the only institute in the United States. Binghamton is now the only university in the United States that offers a minor and a master's degree in genocide prevention. And so that's an example of what you can do on the board, which is why it's so exciting to be on the board.
And there is 130 students, I think, in that genocide and mass atrocity prevention program.
In the minor, that's exactly right, Jacob. When we opened it up for signups for the minor, we were prepared to be happy if 25 students had shown up to think about this as a minor, and instead over 130 have now declared this as a minor. And one of the things that makes this institute truly revolutionary from an educational standpoint, very innovative from an educational standpoint, is that one of the things we're using the money to do is to incentivize professors when they have their sabbatical semesters to take money from us and use that money to work with a grad student or students and create new curriculum in this area. This is an emerging area of education. And so we need new courses, we need new curricula. And the other thing we do, the other thing that's, again, very innovative, is we're part of the funding here that we set up is to allow this institute to find internships and externships for students, for undergraduates and graduate students in this area, to be in the field, to see how genocide prevention is happening now. So they might go to Ghana and shadow, or Kenya, and shadow a government official for 6 months, seeing what that government official was doing in trying to engage in genocide prevention. And again, those are opportunities that are very hard to find anywhere else, but here we're doing it on a very organized basis. And it's great. It's wonderful.
And to connect it back, just for the parent out there that's hearing about what the foundation does, by creating this center, in addition to the incredibly important work, it's bolstering the prestige of the university and making Binghamton graduates more employable.
Well, not only that, but I've also spoken to parents about the value of this minor. So if you think about it, especially in the last 2 years, right? But even before the last 2 years, so-called corporate social responsibility has been a big agenda item for major corporations around the world for the last 15 years, and it's been growing in importance. In addition, more and more pension funds and more retirement funds are trying to invest people's money in what's called ESG compliant companies, which are companies that engage in environmental, social, and governance reforms that include corporate social responsibility and human rights issues. So the fact is, our students who take this minor or who go on and get a master's degree in genocide prevention will be remarkably well equipped to step into private sector jobs relating to how companies interface with human rights, including human rights that go beyond the company. That is, what is happening in the country where I'm doing business. Our students will actually be prepared for this kind of work in a way that other students won't be. And so not only does it raise the prestige of the university, it means our students have a whole skill set available to them that other students at other major universities won't have, and they will be employable. These are jobs that are out there now because companies are really focusing on this.
And to another one of the things that the foundation has done, there is no more prominent topic right now than vaccines and vaccine distribution in this country.
Yes.
And the foundation, well, you tell me about it. They have directly been involved in helping.
Foundation's been involved. So, President Stenger has done a remarkable job in terms of his leadership during the pandemic, in terms of in terms of keeping the campus open, talking to the students through email and other interface to really exhort them to sort of try to follow the rules, even though it's tough to follow the rules, and the testing that we've done. And as you know, Jacob, we've been using nursing students and pharmacy students to help run the testing and data entry centers, and also students in the computer sciences. We've had hundreds of students who've actually received letters of commendation from the chancellor of the SUNY system for helping in keeping the campus open. So that's one thing we've done. But another thing we've done is, the university, the state, is using one of the university's properties, the old Gannett building in Binghamton, which was a property that was purchased in part with money from the foundation. So we helped the university buy that building. But one of the things we did was we said to the president, is there anything else you need from us? We've got discretionary funds every year based on interest coming off of the endowment. Do you have any other projects for us? And two projects that popped up were, one, the state came to the university and said, we'd like to set up the Gannett building to be the vaccination center, or one of the key vaccination centers for this entire southern tier. And so we did that. We chipped in and we helped with that, and that was great. But the other thing we just did is, thinking ahead to next fall, we also just gave the university some money so they could buy extra flu vaccines for next fall. So that instead of vaccinating 1,500 plus, next year we'll be able to offer vaccines to over 2,500 plus students. And the reason that's important is, as you know, even as we get over the hump of this pandemic, the idea of just keeping the campus healthier, so that people are less afraid anytime anybody gets the sniffles, right? So the idea of just getting more students to get their flu shots so that the campus just stays healthier was just something the board focused on. And we spoke to the president and we spoke to Brian Rose, and they came up with this idea. They said, well, if we had a little bit of money, we could buy more flu vaccines, which we could dispense on campus. And so we upped the number of flu vaccines that we're going to be giving on campus by 2/3, from 1,500 to 2,500.
Lastly, Owen, what fuels your passion for the university? Because it just jumps off the charts.
Yeah. Well, I loved my time at Binghamton. It was easily one of the happiest times of my life. And the reason I was so happy at Binghamton was that there was always so much to try. You know, whether it was a one-year pottery course out of the New England College curriculum, or whether it was art history, for me, a political science major. But Jacob, I have always looked upon universities as one of those things that gets me out of bed in the morning. It gives me hope. Anytime I think to myself, the world is going to hell in a handbasket and there's nothing we can do about it. And then I think about universities, and I think about what happens at universities, that people sit and think about things. And that's what they're paid to do. They're paid to think and to teach other people how to think. And the funny thing is, if we keep thinking about things, we keep finding ways to solve problems. And so universities are one of those places that give me hope. And so anything I can do to help Binghamton think bigger, think better, really excites me. It makes me feel like I'm doing a little piece to make it possible for the world to be changed for the better. Progress, right? Universities stand for progress. And for example, as I've told people, you will never solve the problem of genocide without universities. Genocide has been around since before the time of the Bible, right? We know that this is something people have been doing to each other for a very long time. It's going to take a full university. It's going to take all that power, right? It's going to take comparative literature teachers and linguists and economists and political scientists and biologists and chemists to really think about, why is it that people keep doing these things? Because it's not one answer. If there were one answer, we would have figured it out long ago. And that's why you need a university. You know, it's not always so much to say it takes the village. A lot of times it takes a university. That's the village you need. And that's why I love Binghamton, because there are so many exciting things happening here. And it's so easy to become engaged. If you come to the university and say, I'm interested in this issue, do you have anybody thinking about this? More than 9 out of 10 times we do. And we can hook you up with that person, and then you can decide whether that's going to be your way in, whether that's going to be your portal to engagement. And the other wonderful thing about Binghamton, Jacob, and I know you know this, is that more than most universities, Binghamton is remarkable at stretching a dollar. Mm-hmm. We use money remarkably efficiently, and we've been noticed by the state for that. For example, the state of New York routinely notices how efficient Binghamton is in how it spends money. So we use our money really efficiently, we stretch the dollar, and we give our alums a way of engaging that's very hard to find at other schools. And it's very, very exciting.
And what's the most direct way if someone's watching and says, I want to reach out? How do they do that?
You can certainly email me, right? That's easy, but you just reach out to the foundation. The head of advancement is John Cook, K-O-C-H, and he's on the website, and he's the head of advancement. And John is one of the portals. He's a way in, and he knows who to contact among the deans, among the board members. He knows who to contact. But, there are multiple ways in, but those are, either through me or through John, are both very good ways in.
And that's the thing I think as well that stands out about Binghamton. It is very accessible. You don't have to take 5 steps. You are encouraged to get involved. And
that's right.
You mentioned the village. The foundation is certainly a big part of that village's success. So Owen Pell, thanks so much again for being on this Alumni Bearcat Chats, and look forward to being in touch down the road.
Thanks very much, Jacob. I appreciate it.